Tash Dile, this is Sakina Bhatt and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines. His Holiness the Dalai Lama commends United Nations and 50 member states on nuclear ban treaty. Intelligence guided by warm-heartedness key to happier individuals, says His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Tibetan woman dies in Chinese custody. US Senator Josh Hawley introduces resolution condemning CCP's use of forced labor in Tibet. Principles of democracy at threat if China not held accountable, says President Dr. Lobsang Singye. Settlement officers should pay more attention to mental health issues, says President Dr. Lobsang Singye. Tibet Heritage Preservation Initiatives. Dr. Tsewang Gyalpo Arya is the new representative Office of Tibet, Japan. His Holiness the Dalai Lama commended the United Nations and the 50 member states on nuclear ban treaty, which will come into force on 22nd January 2021. His Holiness, a lifelong advocate for nuclear disarmament, said that the decision is a step in the right direction to finding more enlightened and civilized arrangements for resolving conflicts. 50 countries have ratified an international treaty to ban nuclear weapons, allowing the historic text to enter into force in 90 days. Inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's act of non-violence and his impact on the world, His Holiness remains convinced that the revival of ancient Indian knowledge of the mind and emotions would have a similar beneficial effect on the world. His Holiness was invited by the India International Center and the Foundation for Universal Responsibility of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to speak about India's heritage of Karuna and Ahimsa.
We human beings need 1,000-year-old India's tradition of Karuna. With Karuna and Ahimsa, that humanity really need. So my number one commitment, try to promote India's sort of concept of Ahimsa and Karuna as a human being.
A Tibetan woman named Lamo dies in Chinese custody while her cousin Tharpa is detained by the local Chinese authorities for sending money to their relatives in India. New York-based human rights research and advocacy group Human Rights Watch released the news this Thursday and demanded Chinese authorities investigate Lamo's death in custody and release her cousin Tharpa immediately. The head of Human Rights Desk of Department of Information and International Relations, Dukten Ki, condemned this repressive act of Chinese authorities and said, sending money to family members in India is a common practice and not a crime.
Now, in any other country or context, sending money to your friends and families would not, would not be a crime. But however, because the Chinese government repressive policies against the Tibetans and specifically censorship on communication between Tibetans inside Tibet and outside, they regard such a small act as sending money to their families as espionage against national security. Now this is completely absurd. We call on Chinese government to respect human rights and to stop torturing Tibetan prisoners in Chinese jail.
Lamo, who was in good health before her detention, was sent to the hospital with her body badly bruised and unable to speak in the month of August and passed away 2 days later. US Senator Josh Hawley introduced a resolution condemning the CCP's use of forced labor and coercive measures to destroy religious freedom in Tibet. The resolution further condemns CCP's interference of Tibetan Buddhism and calls on the US government to proactively support the Tibetan Policy and Support Act of 2002. CTA's President Dr. Lobsang Singye said, "The incursions at Indo-Tibet border stemmed from the core unresolved issue of Tibet, which needs to be demilitarized and restored to its former status of a buffer, a zone of peace." Dr. Lobsang Singye emphasized the interest of peace and stability for Asia.
So the problem is, when Tibet was an independent country, it acted as the buffer zone, and it was the zone of peace. And when Tibet was independent, we had only 75 Tibetan soldiers guarding the border with India. Now, it was a peaceful zone. Now, after we lost our country, the tension that we see in the subcontinent is very real. So hence, unless you address the issue of Tibet, you cannot address the issue of Indo-China tension.
Lord Bruce, president of the Democratic Forum, highlighted the growing scrutiny over China's repression of human rights of Tibetans, Uyghurs, Mongolians, and Hong Kongers.
Indeed, Tibet's experience provides a chilling lesson in this form of coercive and systemic intimidation.
British MP, chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Tibet, Tim Lofton, welcomed the support for Tibet issue, noting the earlier minimal support, calling himself a lone voice on the issue of Tibet, which has gone under a significant change to enjoy support across political affiliations in the parliament.
When we've tried to raise the subject of Tibet in Parliament, there'll be just a handful of members there flying the flag for Tibet and raising the whole issue of human rights abuses by the Chinese.
An independent specialist researcher and writer, Kate Saunders, presented on the military-style labor training programs. Appa Lamo, PhD research candidate at Jawaharlal Nehru University, detailed the extent of CCP based on her research findings and close understanding as a former native who had escaped to exile in India. At the inaugural session of the 13th Conference of Tibetan Settlement Officers organized by the Department of Home on Monday this week, Sikyong Dr. Lobsang Singye applauded the efficient leadership of the settlement officers and chief representatives in managing the COVID situation in Tibetan communities. Speaking on mental health issues worsened by the pandemic across the world, Dr. Singye proposed an alternative rehabilitation center that could integrate a wide range of approaches, including Tibetan herbal tradition, meditation, and Buddhist teaching added to Western medicine system. He added that settlement officers should pay more attention, especially contemplate measures to support them and tackle mental health issues. The three-day 13th Conference of the Settlement Officers concluded on Wednesday this week. The Tibet Museum of the Department of Information and International Relations, Central Tibetan Administration, has initiated a project for conservation, preservation, and display of its collection. The collection will be displayed in the new Tibet Museum in Ganjin Kishong, Dharamshala, which will serve as a repository of cultural and historical information about Tibet and Tibetan culture. A dedicated art conservation laboratory has been established for this purpose. Dr. Tsewang Gyalpo Arya, representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama for Japan and East Asia, formally took charge on Saturday last week after completing the handling and taking over from the ongoing representative, Mr. Lungtok. On Wednesday this week, the former and new representatives met the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to pay their respect and updated him on Tibet issue. Mr. Abe asked about His Holiness the Dalai Lama's health, expressed his support for a peaceful resolution of Tibet issue, and wished the two representatives all the best in their works. So much for this week. See you next time and have a great weekend.